Hi there, my name is Teacher Alfred from Red Academy, where we redefine African dreams. And we do that through teaching digital skills such as coding and robotics to young and old alike. Today, I'd like to get into one of the platforms that we use quite a lot with our learners, especially when they're starting out, which teaches them digital skills without the need for worrying about typing wrongly or wrong syntax and the errors that come with it, things like missing semicolons or wrong spellings of words. And that platform is Scratch, so that's what I'll be talking about today. So without much further ado, let's get on with it. So open up your web browser. The easiest way that I always explain to the kids about how to get to Scratch is go to Google or open up your search bar in your browser and look for the word Scratch, just like when you scratch an itch. One of the top results you'll find is this one here that says Scratch, Imagine, Program, Share. Before I go into it, maybe let's start off by talking about what Scratch is. And they explain it as saying Scratch is a high-level block-based visual programming language. Block-based is the main thing. We are not focused on syntax errors, putting semicolons in the wrong place with our code, or typing wrong things, which will cause errors. Block-based code is drag and drop, and that's how you put your code together, and you'll see that when we get into Scratch. But that's really all it is. It's not typing all the words where if you miss one letter, your code doesn't work, you get errors. It's dragging a block that has the instruction. Scratch also has a Scratch Junior, which is for ages 5 to about 7. Also block-based, but for younger children. It's looking at things like arrows. Instead of having to read the words that are there, they just have to look at the arrow. Is the arrow pointing up, down, left, right? Is it a turning arrow? But that's something we'll look at a later stage. So we found our result that we're looking for, Scratch, Imagine, Program, Share. You can now click on it to open it. This is the website that will bring you to. In Scratch, like I said, it's a free platform. There's no payments needed. There's no trial. It's free to use and work on. You will see if you scroll down on that initial page, there's sections that says featured projects. These are projects that other people have created, and they felt that they wanted to share them. They shared them, and a lot of people liked them, so they are now featured. This is Scratch, and you don't even need to sign in to start coding. You can just immediately click on create right here. This is where you can then create, or you can sign in if you want to then be able to save your work and continue working on it at a later stage. Before you sign in, you need to join Scratch and create a profile for yourself. Then after you've joined Scratch, you can then sign in. But before you get to that, you might just want to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes playing around with it before even creating a profile or joining Scratch. So once you click on create, it then opens up the actual coding interface where you actually put your code together. It will tell you creating project, loading sprites, and voila, it opens up. So this is really what it all looks like. And when you first open it, it has a tutorial that it loads at the beginning. And this tutorial, you can click and drag it around if you need to move it. All it is first steps to show you how Scratch works and how to use it. So what you can do with Scratch is that you could click on this video, run it.
You can make your own stories, games, and animations.
You can run this video. It explains to you what you will be doing during the tasks, and once you've watched it, you can then click on the arrow on the right. This just takes you to the next stage, which shows you the first step you must carry out. And with that first step, I'll start off by just moving this to the side, and with that I will then bring in the block that they are showing. So the block that they have here is a blue block which says move 10 steps. Blue block, move 10 steps. Perfect. So I click and drag it onto the screen, just like that. And you'll notice that the blocks have colors. So we have blue, and all the blue blocks are on this blue circle called motion. Any code that has to do with moving something is going to be on motion. And as you look down the list of circles, you will start seeing that there's circles here that you can almost intuitively sort of figure out what type of code they have. So on looks, that's going to be code that changes how your program looks. So looks can be things like colors, the size of something, or maybe even the shape of something. If I then click on looks, you have say hello for 2 seconds. So this is a speech block that will appear. And I think that is the next task that we have to do. So you take that say hello for 2 seconds. And in the Scratch world, this speech block, because it appears over the head of your character, of your sprite, it's about how it looks. It's changing how your project looks. So it's putting that speech block above the head of your object or your sprite. So in Scratch, they call objects sprites. That's why you will have, and we'll see it later on, a lot of talk around sprites. But a sprite is really just an object, and an object is just something that you use in your code. Just like the cat that we see here, it's an object, something that you can program or give instructions to. So the way I like to look at, to think about what code is that code is just instructions that you give to something. We are coding the cat, we are giving the cat instructions. If it was a ball that we were coding, we would be giving the ball instructions. Now we've added say hello for 2 seconds, and it's on looks. I was talking about the circles that we have that are color coded, which group code together according to what's relevant. Next one that we have is sound. So as you can imagine, this has anything to do with sound for your sprite or object or your code. Anything that has to do with sound is going to be in there. So these tutorials, they're quite intuitive step-by-step guides on how to go about your tasks, and they tell you click the green flag to start. After you add that code, once you're done with a tutorial, they still have more tutorials that you can do. And if you find that your code is too big, you want to see more of your screen, you can shrink and then expand by clicking that shrink area, and then you can drag it all the way to one side. If you close it by mistake, don't panic. You can always get it back. So there is this tutorials section right at the top that you can click on, and from there you just go back to the tutorial that you were on, and for us it was the getting started, and here it is, and you can click through the arrows. One thing I would suggest, once you move from one tutorial to another, so let's say now I want to go to add a sprite tutorial, always do it with a new project unless you're not worried about deleting the project you were working on before. So what I mean by that is, if I'm done with this project and I want to start a new one, a new tutorial, always make sure that you've saved it. But in this case, I haven't signed in, so I can't save it. So what I can do is I can just delete the code. If I'm still just playing around with Scratch, I can delete it, then go to tutorials, and let's animate a name. Then I can start this tutorial on a clean slate with no code on it. You are more than welcome to combine tutorials into one, put code from different tutorials together. It's all a learning experience. So ultimately, you must enjoy, you must have fun, and you must experience the joy of allowing your creative juices to flow. That's it for this introduction to Scratch. We'll get into some tutorials. At another time, we'll get into Scratch Junior, and we'll get into other aspects of digital skills, coding, and robotics as we go along with our code. So I don't know what your thoughts are about what we've covered, but do comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Is there something specific in Scratch that you'd like to, some instructions on? This is Teacher Alfred from Rad Academy saying, be rad.